Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Kink Consultant. I am so lucky to have Jana Wimer, the director, and Bob Bullwinkle, the producer of Abandon. Thank you so much for both being here. I was lucky enough to see this amazing theater production earlier this year, and you guys are bringing it back for the month of October in Vegas, right?
It's the spooky season, baby, and we're back with a vengeance.
And
more blood, more kink, more horror all the time.
All the things I love and all of the things I was excited about to see in the show. So let's just set the stage. Can you tell me what the show is about? Because obviously it's the Marquis de Sade presents Abandon. And I've seen the show. There's a lot of Marquis de Sade in it. So what's the premise of the show? Like, where did it all start?
Yeah, well, it started a long time ago. We'll get into that more later. But this show, we wanted a historical figure actually to base the show around, strangely enough, because of censorship, which we were talking a little bit before the podcast started. It's a lot easier to defend your First Amendment rights if you're dealing with a historical subject. I mean, our show is artistic in nature. It's not pornography. It's a show about this very legitimate French author who's in the French the National Hall of Fame. And so we felt like that would give us a lot more credibility with people who might want to shut our show down. Knock on wood, we've not had any of that so far. And so the show is basically the Marquis de Sade's time spent incarcerated in mental institutions. Mm-hmm. He wasn't insane. He was just being persecuted for his kind of avant-garde sexual beliefs. And it was easier to lock him up than it was to deal with him out in society. And so in that incarceration, he wrote a lot. I mean, that's what kept him sane in his years in the asylum, was writing. And he would actually put on little plays with the other inmates. I call them inmates because, you know, being in an asylum is a matter of race and place. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, and that persists to this day, which is another one of our themes in the show, is that mental health really hasn't changed all that much. So he would write little plays, and the inmates would act out his plays. And that was like the genesis of this idea of him being our central figure.
And he was allowed to have these, right? These plays. They allowed them to be acted out in the asylum. I have very little historical knowledge, but I've seen the movie Quills, and I don't know if you've seen that too. But I know it's loosely based on him. And they'd have these themes in them, would they?
Yeah, I mean, his writing was all very kink-oriented, very scatological, very graphic. And so I'm assuming that, I don't know that any of those plays written for the inmates are actually existing still.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but you have to imagine, based on his other writings, that's what they were about.
Yeah. Okay, so the Marquis de Sade is a polarizing figure, I think, in the world of BDSM, because he's considered, what is he, the father or godfather, whatever it is. He is a figurehead, and where it started, I guess, sadism is from, that's where it came from, his name. There are a lot of rumors about him and how bad he was. Like, he was polarizing for a reason. Did any of that come into when you were writing the show? Were there concerns around that? I mean, like, I think that some people refer to him even as a pedophile who had sex with children.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of it is true or not, because there are so many rumors around him as well.
Right. And I don't even think we know how much. I mean, like, historically, yes, he was arrested for certain things, but I think for the most part, it was just his imagination. But yes, that was a concern. I mean, I've had people, or I've heard of people, like, looking him up and just being like, oh, can't believe you. Like, I have a friend who had a friend who was like, I can't be associated with somebody who would support a show that's about such a horrible person. It's like, you're not our target audience anyway, so.
Weed yourself out,
But, I mean, it was a consideration, but, I mean, I ultimately don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
True story. We were turned down by at least one PR firm because they wouldn't handle anything that had the Marquis de Sade in the title.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's important to remember, he's an author. People, wake up.
Yeah.
These are works of fiction. They're not like a diary of things that he actually did. And he was arrested a few times, but none of it was for pedophilia. I mean, you know, it was for a lot of things that now we would call, well, that's edge play. That's some pretty serious impact play there. But in general, he paid prostitutes to do these things with him. And so, is that consent? I don't know.
I think that's the area where we need to...
That's a little bit of a gray area.
Because obviously we're all fans of consent here. It's just, there are so many rumors around him as well. And I think that's the point. That's what makes him a larger-than-life figure.
Yeah. And we did not make this a historical fiction. It's not like we went through any of his writings and said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. He was really more like this iconic figure that we could tell lots of other stories around, because it's not just his stories, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, the show's about the asylum and the other patients in the asylum and the people running the asylum and the stuff going on in their world and their head and his imagination. So, I mean, it's about a lot of things, and it transcends horror and sexual kink. And what's frustrating with these people who are like, oh, no. It's just like, if you actually came to see the show, you would see that it's so much more. It's about so much more than
it
all
really
of that.
is. It elicits a lot of feelings and emotions. And when I went, one of the things, I was prepared for all the kink. You walk in and there's like the trigger warnings of everything you're going to see. But I actually have a fear of the dark, and I was not prepared for how actually dark the theater was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
The fact that you're able to make it that dark. How are the cast even hitting their marks? I truly want to know.
Lots of rehearsals.
It's like one step,
luck,
2 step, 3
blind
step.
luck.
Yeah.
No, it's all choreographed. Like the real show is backstage.
Oh, I bet. I would love to see that, actually.
It's like when they're on stage, it's almost like a break. They can relax a little bit. But, glow tape and choreography.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there and I was like, and then something would light up and I'd be like, how are they there? I didn't even see them coming out. That is how dark the theater is.
Yeah,
and I was not ready. Pitch black, yeah.
We did our job.
I know. It's really difficult to achieve pitch black. I don't think people realize how hard it is to get a space pitch black.
I wouldn't know how hard it was, but I'll tell you that it is. That's why it is such a mind fuck, because you're never in total darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Jana really is just like so persistent about every source of life and every tiny little reflection, and she's like will crawl back behind things and up onto things. And I know it's coming from somewhere. And it's like this little glimmer of it. But you're right, though. It is like being in the deepest, darkest cave, right? There's no light.
And you're aware that people are around you, and you're aware that people are going to be on stage, but at the same time, the feeling of isolation in the darkness is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's an experience unto itself. So I was impressed with that, and I want to call that out for anyone else who might be afraid of the dark as well. It's real.
And for those of you who are in Las Vegas and haven't seen the show, we should tell you a little bit about what it actually looks like. It's a series of rapid-fire vignettes. Each one of them lasts anywhere from 15 seconds to a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And we pack about 57 of them into about an hour-long show. So it's like every minute something new is coming on, which is wonderful, because if something scares the shit out of you, then, oh my goodness, there's something funny right after it to kind of cleanse your palate and prepare you for the next scary thing or the next sexy thing. It is this series of wordless vignettes that are designed to evoke the emotions that you were talking about and to take you on this roller coaster ride of experiences. It's like being on an acid trip, kind of, or it almost like puts you into a fugue state, the black and then the action and the black and then the action. It does fuck with your mind.
It does, yeah. But that's the other thing that I really liked about it. You will not be bored. Like, that is one thing I can say hands down. I guarantee no one's going to show up to that show and be bored. They might be scared, maybe slightly sickened at things or exhilarated by it, but there's no way anyone's going to be bored. And it is that quick pace of everything. And the acting. You guys put together an amazing cast. And are they all coming back for October?
Most of them, yeah. Almost all of them.
Are they Vegas-based?
Yes. This run, I have some LA actors coming in to cover some of our Vegas people that have prior commitments. So they're missing some performances. But yeah.
Amazing.
All Vegas actors.
All right.
And what do they do in their other jobs, Jana? Our actors.
One of them, our Joshua Berg, our Marquis de Sade, he's a blue man.
Oh, amazing. Wow. Okay.
Julia Piolanti, she is a cirque performer.
Wow.
She's an amazing cirque performer.
Yeah. Jonas Wolverton, I think, too, is also.
Yeah.
I think he was in Zumanity for years and years.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
He's also a cirque
wow.
performer.
Yeah, so it's an amazing talent base here in Vegas.
Yeah.
There really is. I mean, there are so many shows, but then also in your production, I mean, the music, and you've got a star-studded group have put together this show.
Yeah, our composer is Joseph Bashara. He did the music for The Conjuring, Insidious, a lot of those James Wan movies. More than I can name, really.
Also, a lot of mind-fucking music type of stuff. Yeah,
he's great. He was a big fan of my other show, so he was, he came in and was more than happy to compose this incredible music for us.
Amazing. And that show was in San Francisco? What
no,
was the show before?
It's in LA. It's called Urban Death.
Urban Death. Is that still running?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, in LA right now, there's Urban Death Tour Terror, which is our haunt version of the show.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And we were voted number 2 scariest haunt in the country by Yelp.
Whoa, that's a
So-
huge freaking honor. Okay.
Yeah, it's a cool show. And it's affordable. So if you're in
Okay.
LA or going to be in LA for the haunt season, check out Urban Death Tour Terror.
All right, I might have to just go to LA for this. I love a good haunt. I love to be scared. And-
Yeah, LA's the mecca of haunts. There's
Yeah.
a lot of really good haunts there.
Amazing.
And Abandoned was actually named one of the top haunts in Las Vegas by haunts.com. So we're proud of that. We're gunning for the national stage.
All right. Easy to believe, too, because it's an eerie sort of feeling.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's not a traditional walkthrough haunt, but if you like a walkthrough haunt, you're going to love this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Better. It's better than a walkthrough haunt. I think a lot of walkthrough haunts are not that interesting. But don't get me started on that rant.
No, but let's put a pin. Let's come back to that one, actually.
And going back to the soundscape, because I mean, obviously, with no words in the show, the sound is like critically important to set the mood, to tell the story. And so, the sound designer for this show was Katie Halliday, who won an Emmy for Stranger Things.
Oh, amazing!
All of the non-musical elements are all Katie.
That's really great. That's another thing. I walked in, I like to go into shows blind. I don't like watching movie trailers. I just want to get give me the quick gist and I'm going to go experience it so I get to experience something totally new. I think I was 3/4 of the way through that show before I realized no one was talking. I think because you don't need words when they act like that, and there's just so many visual cues, and it's done so well, and you really think you're looking at things that that's the trick of theater.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to catch on to the fact no one has spoken.
Yeah, it's really ruined traditional theater for me. It's like it's blah 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 blah. It's like, oh God, stop talking.
Well, scenes are over almost as soon as they begin sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. I can't sit through a show that's like more than an hour and a half. That's my absolute limit, hour and a half.
Me too, even movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
So many good stories are ruined by saying too much, right? Leave us wanting more.
I mean, Chanel said it, take one piece off before you leave your house. Cut out 3/4 of your show before you put it on stage. All right. Is this the first show? So obviously you've worked on other shows that are still running.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first show you both worked on together?
I mean, technically, no.
Technically, no. Okay.
No, not at all.
All right. So let's paint the
Not at
picture.
all.
How did you two meet?
Well, I was a little band geek in high school in Fresno, California. And my friends were in a show. There was a new band, a drama teacher called Robert Bullwinkle. And I had some friends in the show, and I went to the first show he directed was my freshman year. And it was a little show called Voices from the High School. And it literally changed my life seeing that show. And then I started doing theater.
Wow.
So he was my high school drama teacher.
Yes, I was. What was the first show you were in? Was it The Crucible?
It was Grease.
Grease was the first
No
one.
way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crucible was the first time I had lines.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's an important one as well then. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So when did the student become the master?
About, I don't know how many years ago, probably 10 years ago now, Bob and his wife, Kim Morin, who was also one of my theater professors in college.
Small world. This
Yeah,
is okay.
They came to see Urban Death in LA.
Okay.
My other show, and you want to
Let me
take over
this
from there?
one.
Yeah, okay,
I was
please.
struck by lightning. This is the most innovative, fresh, unique approach to theater that I have seen in a long time. I think theater is dead, to be honest, and this kind of show is maybe the hope for it to be resurrected a little bit. I was just stunned that you could actually do that on stage and really, really get all of those emotions and all of that nonverbal communication. It just blew me away. I after the show, I think I said, you and I have to do something together, because I've not been this excited about going to see a piece of theater in 20 years.
Wow.
And that was the beginning.
So Urban Death is like Abandoned in the sense that it's a vignette shown and there's pitch blackout and it's short scenes between pitch blackouts, but it's totally random.
Okay.
There's no through line, there's no story, it's just completely random. So you have no idea what you're going to see.
All from the mind of Jana then. If there's
that was created by Zombie Joe and I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's a collaborative show, so the cast will come up with pieces. But I think we have over 800 pieces in Urban Death that we've done over the years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something new with this show, right? So that
Yeah.
it does have a narrative arc. It has, characters that show some character development.
And that makes it like that really does come out in the show. I don't want to give too much away, but there are characters and you see a growth or an expansion of their experiences in front of you over time. Yeah. Which is actually, I think, really reflective of what an actual kink journey is like too, because you start with that curiosity, that sort of like, let me just get closer to this and witness. And then it sort of becomes like, let me just try a little bit. And then you go through an extreme version of it. And I think that we sometimes see the characters go through similar aspects or sides of themselves as they discover their own kinks.
Yeah, you definitely catch these characters like in extreme moments.
Yes.
There's nothing mundane about it, or if it's mundane, it's not that way for long, like before something really incredible happens. And I think that's what I like about it is that it's all killer, no filler.
Yeah.
You catch them in these moments that are just unique and one of a kind.
That's really true. So I want to know for each of you, what were your experiences with kink before doing this show? That's a dangerous laugh.
No, none.
None. No way.
No, I mean, really just like basic, really basic stuff. I mean, like not very interesting at all. It's not really my world. I'm a hedonist.
Okay.
I'm a hedonist, but the kink thing is not my world. And then so when we started doing the show, I was like, all right, I gotta get in the world. So I signed up on like Field. Because I'm single. All
right, maybe we can fix that. We're going to go through the list of things.
She's single.
Yeah.
So I went on Field, and that was, but I felt like such a poser.
But everyone's like beginning in their kink journey somewhere. It's just not everyone's beginning in their kink journey and putting on a show about the father of BDSM or like the origin. So you really go for it. You go balls to the wall when you go for
really
something
because
you are a hedonist. All right. Really lean in.
I'm like a vanilla hedonist.
I love that though. We love a self-aware vanilla hedonist. Okay, and Bob.
I dove into it more deeply than Jana did. I mean, I really wanted to know what this was all about, and so I joined FetLife, and I started going to different kink events here in Las Vegas and also in San Francisco, where I'm from, and started experiencing that. And one thing I wanted to say about that is how wonderful the community here is in Las Vegas and San Francisco, for that matter. But I'm more familiar with the community here, and the people are just so welcoming and kind and loving and concerned, and have been so helpful. I mean, we put out a call for riggers to do a shibari demo before the show begins in our pre-show, and I had no trouble finding people who were like, we paid them a little bit, but they would do it for free, I think, just because they want to educate. They want to get the word out there and show people that this is safe and sane and consensual, that it's not something that's hidden in a dark corner somewhere. This is really part of our human experience, and we can embrace it. And we're not just some crazy weirdos that should be shoved into an asylum.
No, we're not. And it's funny that so little has changed in the acceptance of kink over time. I think that I know as much as people are angry about 50 Shades of Grey, it did a lot to bring it out in the forefront. But I think as all of us have experienced, at least on TikTok and Instagram and wherever we're trying to promote what we do, we are crucified for just even putting out safe, sane, consensual, clean versions of what kink is. And it's still being hidden away. And that's like, it's something that's really hard to deal with. Even when I made a post about Abandon earlier this year, when I went in June, because I was so excited to be there, as soon as you walk in the door, it's an experience and you're part of a show and you were interacting with characters in a way that I wasn't expecting to. I was so excited. I made the video and I was excited to share it with everyone. And immediately I think Instagram flagged it and said for review. Luckily, when it was reviewed, people, the powers that be that watched it were like, okay, we'll let it be. But then over time, again, it just kept being flagged for review. And there was nothing in it that was truly anything bad. People were clothed. Nothing was non-consensual. And it's really hard to get the word out then about anything kink. Did you have trouble when you did Urban Death?
Well, I mean, just the name alone is problematic on social media.
That death.
Yeah, they don't. So yes, Urban Death has been it's mostly been just word of mouth. I mean, the show's almost 20 years old.
Wow.
Running off and on for 20 years. So we've just slowly have developed word of mouth and getting it going. But we don't, even though I would say Urban Death is actually more extreme with the sexuality and the nudity and it's not marketed as a kink show. So it's a little bit, and there's so much in Urban Death that we can focus on other
Other-
stuff other than the
Kink side.
kink
Yeah.
stuff. So
Just to be clear, Las Vegas, you don't have 20 years to come and see Abandon.
No.
This month, it's October 2024. This is your chance. Don't assume it's ever
Yeah.
going to be coming back.
What site is it that they should go to? Because it's not on every night in October. There are
No.
specific dates. So
Yeah.
where should people go to find out?
Yeah, it's being performed at Vegas Theater Company, first of all, in the beautiful, vibrant arts district in downtown Las Vegas. But if you go to our website, abandonvegas.com, you can find all the dates and times listed there. If you want to buy a ticket, you can go to theater.vegas/abandon, theater.vegas/abandon.
Okay.
And there's a calendar there with all the dates and times.
People who do show up should definitely show up early because as soon as you walk in the doors of the theater, there is a spectacle. There are things to be seen, interactions to be had. Before the show, are you going to do like the demos like you did this time around?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of reimagining this as even more of a kinky, creepy, spooky cabaret. So there'll be an MC, there'll be acts, there'll be all the same kinds of interaction you were referring to, but even more.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next for Abandon? Yes, people might not have 20 years to see it, but hopefully this won't be everyone's last chance because if people come and see it and have an experience like me, we're going to want to see it again. So what's next?
Well, I think we're trying to get it run in San Francisco going.
Okay.
We would love to tour, because there is no dialogue. It could go, anywhere in the world.
International. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
we would love to see it in another country somewhere.
Okay.
Or even in our dreams of dreams, it would be like Blue Man Group or, like where there's productions playing all over the world.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. I think that is what I would hope for it as well, because I think it's a really great representation of kink, even if it is under such a polarizing character like the Marquis de Sade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any of you Deep Pocket podcast watchers, if you'd like to invest in a show to become a Las Vegas icon, just let us know.
I don't want to get any other shows in trouble. There is a show going now, and it calls itself the sexiest show in Las Vegas, but I think it's at, what's the tall hotel?
The Stratosphere.
The Strat, yeah. I would argue that Abandon is the sexiest show in Las Vegas. It is definitely the kinkiest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what makes me a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about what a good-looking cast this is. I
Yeah.
don't know how we lucked
Yeah.
out, but
This is a good-looking cast.
There's some cool people there.
There's some very, very attractive people.
There are really attractive people. I was on Instagram after being like, follow. Especially since I too am now single. So if there's any single cast
we
members,
should hang.
we should hang.
There you go.
Let me help you navigate field, Jana. But if are you based in LA most of the year?
No, I live here now.
You do?
Yeah. I was forced out of my rent-controlled apartment of 22 years in LA, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
looking at rent, I was like, oh, I could get rid of half my stuff and pay twice as much. So with the show here,
Yeah.
I was like, and being able to afford to actually buy a house here.
Oh, yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vegas.
Thanks.
You might even live here longer than I have lived here. I moved here last year. When did you move here?
Like a year and a half ago.
About the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we definitely need to hang
Okay.
out, learning all of these fun facts about you both today. So, for anyone on the fence about coming to see Abandon, I want you guys to give me the elevator pitch, because obviously I loved it and we'll be telling everyone to come and see it in October.
Well, first of all, if
Yeah.
you're listening to this podcast, you should already seen the show. So what's
Yeah.
wrong with you? What's number one? And don't let the fact that you're not in Las Vegas stop you. We have folks flying in from the East Coast to see the show. Some people have come from Minneapolis. I think they'll be coming for their third time to see the show. And local folks have seen it 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I mean, it really is developing that kind of cult following. And so really, I would suggest you step outside your comfort zone a little bit and give it a shot, because I think you'll be glad you did. And if you're not, it's only an hour long. You know?
Yeah, and
You can
it'll
still
fly
do-
by.
You can still do something fun afterwards.
Oh, let's see. Wait. Teller, as in Penn and Teller, came to the show and said, "Oh, if only Cirque were this good."
Ooh, I
You did
could
say
agree
that.
with that. Yeah, no.
I was there.
Yeah, amazing. I would agree with that because I know I had to fly out and couldn't come see it a second time and was so disappointed because going through it once is not enough. You just know you're going to catch more the second or third time around. So super excited to go see it again. Hoping to see it a couple of times this round.
Awesome.
So Abandon happening at Vegas Theater Company in the Las Vegas Arts District, right? And Is Vegas Theater Company someone you guys have worked with before? Is this your first time?
Well, this is our third time because it's the third iteration of Abandon. But I just want to put a shout out to them because this was a real risk on their part to take the show on. When we walked into their artistic director's office, Daz Weller, who's an awesome guy. We just had a pitch deck and an idea, and he bought it and said, yeah, let's do that. And so they really, really go out on a limb to promote original, groundbreaking theater. And speaking of which, they're doing another world premiere right now.
Yeah, it's a show called House on Watch Hill, and it's by the same people who wrote Tony Award-winning show Bandstand, and it takes place in 1984. It's about these kids who put on a neighborhood haunted house.
Oh, cool!
And I saw it, they opened this last weekend, and I saw the previews, and it's a great show. The kids are super talented. The music is great. If you're in the area, because I think we're going up after.
Okay, so that we need to catch
we're like
now.
A late show, so come and see both.
Oh.
To be clear, on Thursdays and Sundays, we're at a, quote, normal time, like 7 o'clock on Thursdays and 8 o'clock on Sundays. But on Fridays and Saturdays, House on Watch Hill starts at 7. We start at 10 immediately afterwards. So it's really cool because theirs is more of a family-friendly show. And so, you can take
kids in the Uber home.
Send the kids home and stay and watch our show. Don't bring the kids.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I was like, no. Okay. Oh, great. All right. Amazing. That does sound really cool. Double feature, night out.
Mm. Oh, and there's a discount, too. If you see one show, you can get money off on seeing the other show.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
And would you still be able to go get tickets through?
Yes, they're at theater.vegas. That's the Vegas Theater Company's website.
Amazing. All right. So if you're getting all dolled up, and I would recommend dressing up for this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Does it happen every show? Last time I was there were some prizes for dressing up.
No, exactly. We're going to be promoting a costume contest for each night. There'll be, once you buy your ticket online, you'll get an email telling you what's happening at that show, what the theme is, and if you want to enter the costume contest, you may.
All right, I was not prepared last time, but you better believe I'm showing up dressed up to every show I come to this time. Well, thank you both, Jana and Bob. Really appreciate you coming on today, and hopefully you guys have a great run of the show this month.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Was excited to have you both.
Thanks so much.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone who might find it interesting. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out. Email info@thekingconsultant.com. Until next time, keep on kinking on.